Now, if you've been playing Hytale for any length of time, you've probably come to the realization that food is a pretty important aspect of the game. And if you want to not be dying all the time, then you're going to have to spend a significant amount of time running around and hunting some food. Time that you could be spending building or hanging out with your friends, and instead you've got to spend that like getting what you need to eat, like real life. Anyway, this video, we're solving world hunger. I'm going to show you how to get so much food you'll never need to go hunting or anything ever again. Let's go! Alright, so it starts out at the farmer's workbench. Now, we're not going to actually be like farming for the most part. Really, what you want to do, you got to get your workbench upgraded to level 2 so you can get yourself the fishing trap and the fish bait. For this, you'll need a bunch of wood, literally the easiest resource to get in this game. Essence of life. Really easy, just get a bunch of crops going. If you want the best supply, onions and potatoes give out the most essence of life per thing. Head over to the essence of life tab, sell your produce, and then you're good. Then there's also plant fiber, and get this from whacking the bushes. By far the best place I've found though is run up into a tree and swing your sword, and like every single leaf block is going to give you the plant fibers. And then the last thing is iron ingots. All you need to do is find a cave in the fens. Most of the time it's just the swampy biome. Sometimes they have the autumn biome in there. Caves in this region are full of iron. Go ahead and craft yourself some fishing traps and we can get moving on to the next portion, which is getting the food. This does take a while to craft though. Now that you've got yourself a couple fishing traps, we can head over to some water where we can slowly build up an army of fishing traps over time. Yeah, I got a couple. That's all I've been doing in this game. Now, after about 20 minutes, the fishing trap will get sprung and you'll get yourself a random piece of junk. A lot of times it's salt or maybe a lily pad or occasionally a fish. With 180 fishing traps or something, what I got over there, I can usually get like 30-40 fish or something, just regularly every 20 minutes, which is like a little over a stack of food, which is not enough. Now what's more exciting is part 2, because you can make these better. Now, right next to the fishing trap, there's the fish bait. I didn't even realize that this was in here because it just used the berries item. And this stuff is actually crazy. You need 3 fruit, really just the berries or apples, and some more life essence. Now at first I thought harvesting apples off of apple trees would be the best way to get all this fruit. I got a little apple orchard here, but the thing is it actually takes a ton of time to harvest every single apple, so I didn't really like that too much. You only get 1 as well. And then if you decide to take your sickle and harvest them all that way, no, the tree is gone. Yeah, you harvest it fast, but you're not harvesting that again. Which leads us to what I found to be the most optimal solution, these berry bushes. Now, you can't like break them and like move them or whatever, so you gotta be running around pretty much everywhere, unless you do what I've got going over here. The Quebec merchants have these bushes that you can buy from them. You can buy the berry bushes and you can place them wherever you want. Place them in a giant thing like this, and then just like that you've got a whole stack of berries. You can find these in the Quebec village. They're not that too uncommon. You can find them really easily, but just run up to the Quebec merchant here and pretty much always they're gonna have like 14 or so berry bushes. This one has 16. Just grab all of these with even more of that life essence. Sometimes they can have multiples, so you can buy your berry bush and then a dry berry bush. Place all your bushes down in just a large mass here where you can go in and take your sickle and just get everything all at once. Get yourself a bunch of the fish bait, an item that I think is actually very overlooked. At least I overlooked it. Now you can go in, load all your traps. This is just done by right-clicking on the trap. Now what the fish bait will do is it will make it so that the trap springs faster, and it will also guarantee a fish be trapped in here. However, it won't only just be the common fish that are found normally, but with the fish bait, you are now granted the chance to get rare and uncommon, epic, and legendary fish, which can generate a ton of food. Now, once you have finished loading all your traps, it is very important that you listen to what I say. If you miss this, you'll end up wasting so much time like I did. It is vital that whatever you do while your fish traps have the bait in them, do not unload the chunks or leave the game. If you have a fish trap that has caught some fish and you leave the game or leave the area, unloading the trap and come back, loading it back in, the game knows that the fish trap has caught something, but it can't remember whether or not it has bait in it, so you end up with the same old junk that you get without. So you have to stay close by when your fish traps have bait, which is why it's generally good to place your fish traps over nearby your actual base, the place you'll be spending a good amount of time. And this will take a little bit of time, I think 10 minutes maybe? I think about half the amount of time that it normally takes, so maybe like 10 to 15 minutes or so, somewhere around that. So feel free to go do some other things nearby while you have fishing traps loaded. Maybe you can go in and work on some farming, getting more life essence to make more traps. If it's just you, you shouldn't need too many. However, this can be a really good way to feed the entire server if you're playing with a lot of people, as you end up with just double chests and double chests full of food, which you can sell to everyone for pretty low prices. Now, after a time, you may see a little splash and the trap start to sink down a little bit. This means it's loaded and can now be harvested, though I usually like to wait to harvest all my traps until all of them are ready. Alright, so it has been a little bit, and it looks like all of my fishing traps have caught something. Now, you'll probably have much less at the start. I did as well. Only had about 10 when I started, but I still got a ton of stuff. So I got an empty inventory here. And as you can see, as I start picking stuff up, I start getting some kind of shiny, colorful looking fish. Now, as we'll go over in a second, these are not just for looks. The better the fish, the better the food. Alright, so that looks like all of the 100 traps that I got. Now, I did get some extra stuff because I got the 102 traps. Everything after this is full of junk, so that's what those are in for. But I've got all these fish here we got epic, uncommons, rares. Occasionally you'll get a legendary. Those are insane. I've only gotten like 3 before. Now, what you want to do with all that, you gotta come over to your chef stove, go to the ingredients section, and you have these 5 options with fish. Now here you can craft your fish into raw fish, which then can be cooked into cooked fish, which you can eat. It's the equivalent to a cooked wild meat, tier 2 food. So now start at your big ones. Start with your legendary fish, work your way down. I didn't get any epic or legendary fish. Sometimes these epic rarities just count as uncommon. 1 legendary fish can get you 16 raw fish. If you have the worst luck ever, then setting 100 traps with 100 bait will get you 4 stacks of food, which is enough to last you a pretty long time, actually. And you can easily get that with a much smaller amount of fishing traps, because you do end up with a lot of fish. Now, the reason you're supposed to do the rare fish first is one time I made the mistake of doing the common fish first. But what I didn't realize is this isn't the common fish. This is any fish. So I got a couple legendary fish, which should have gotten me 16, but instead of getting 16 from those, I accidentally got only 1. I was very not happy. I still managed to fill up my inventory though, but I worked a lot for that and was very disappointed. So make sure you do not make that same mistake. This will take a while. get a lot of common fish. Each fish takes a second to craft. So this is gonna take over 2 minutes, and you gotta be sitting here doing nothing. So, might want a snack. Or maybe you can use this time to do your homework. You should really stop procrastinating on that. Well, if you're not gonna do your homework, you could at least subscribe so you can see more videos. That way you can procrastinate more. It's one or the other. Alright, so now we have all our fish cut up, and look at all that fish. This can then be popped into your campfire. I'm gonna recommend making quite a few campfires. This is the amount of fish I got from 100 bait and traps. And in my opinion, this really is the best source of food. All you do is do a little mining, do a little farming, set up some traps, do a little more farming and crafting, get some bait, pop the bait in the traps, wait nearby a little bit, and then you got all the food you will ever need. This stuff is so good that most of the time you won't even need to come back. You just set the traps like once. You get your fish and then kind of just leave it. Or maybe if you only have a couple traps, you can set it like somewhat frequently. It would be much easier to get all the bait you need if you only have one or a couple. Come back every now and then you've got just plenty of fish. So that's how to get loads of fish. It's the second highest tier of food in the game. This stuff is really great if you're on a server and that server has a shopping district or something. You can easily get tons and tons of stock if you scale up. And the best thing about getting tons and tons of stock is that it makes it super easy to price your competitors out of the market. Even if they're selling something like Caesar salads or something, a much better food source, but very tedious to get. You can sell your fish for really, really cheap, so that even though it's less quality, you can make up for it in quantity. So yeah, that's the end of the video. You can like subscribe if you want to see more videos. If you want, you can do what I did and like make the thing that I'm telling you how to make in this video. Subscribe.